we played a whole night. A couple slow songs went on a break that I could hit the men's room real quick. But otherwise, I was on stage. I come down afterwards, and I said, "Hey, Phil," and he goes, "Nick, I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen people dance so much, and the music never stop." And it was very entertaining to watch the disc jockey spinning the tunes and you following with the records. And then the band comes back up, and then you start playing. He says, it was a real interesting thing to see. I've never seen anything like that. And I said, "Did you have a good night?" And he said, "I think we did." He says, "But like I said, the kids sure had a good time. I'd like to get you guys back here." And I said, "Well, Phil, I got an idea. Why don't we come and be the house band?" And the Vandells house band. He says, "What do you mean? Every week you guys play?" I says, "Well, no. I'm thinking that the band like tonight would play for 2 or 3 weeks. And then Terry and I stay in the band playing here. And we get a few other guys to come in. And then we have different people in the band so it doesn't sound like all the same songs all the time. And on break, I'll do my drums. And I'll play with the DJ so I don't stop all night." Now, that's what I would like to do. And if we don't make money for you the first night we do that, like tonight, you don't have to pay us. "Well, I can't argue with that. I don't quite know what you mean." I said, "Well, that's what I'm talking about. When are you have openings?" And he told me, and it was not that far away, and it was kind of working out, So whoever drove me up there, we were excited. I think it might have been Denny Browder. And so then we go back to the neighborhood, and not the neighborhood I was living because my folks moved out of Chicago. Then they were moving to not Bensonville, but right next to Bensonville. So I had to get a ride everywhere to see my friends and all that, because I kind of went a little separate way. And so we go back, and I see Terry, and I say, "Terry, hey, guess what? We got a job. We got a job where you could leave our stuff there. I know you won't, but I want to leave my drums. We have a job at a place. It's a good-looking place. It's kind of fancy, and we're going to go play, and we're going to play there, and we're going to be the house band. And so you and I got a job." And we played there for probably around 5-6 months. It was the longest job we ever had together. And there is another story that I'll tell you later, a place that we played as youngsters, but I don't want to talk about it now. I'd rather talk about it later. It fits in better. So there's Terry and I doing our thing. And meanwhile, I find out there's a show, putting a show together with Jerry Butler. No. Jerry Butler was the famous singer then. Butch Butler and the Enchanters was his brother with a group. Mrs. Moore was a church lady that is putting this event on. Joyce DeWitt was the cutest little black singer. Very, very thin and soulful. And the Vowels was another band that was there. It was in the newspaper. Auditions for a backup band. I called. I got it. We went. We auditioned. We had to go into this house. Terry's father brought us, because this was like a few years prior to the Palatine thing. I'd forgotten about this one. And we go up in there, and in the house, there's only one guy upstairs. He says, "No, everybody's downstairs." And we go down there, and you can hear the live, soulful songs, and we got to back them and do the best we can. We don't know if we got the job. I don't even care if I get paid. I just want to play with music like this. So we get the job. And like I said, Terry's father was great. He brought us. We did our thing. And so then, learning experience, Terry got a microphone. He had to start singing because that's just the way it is. And when we were doing the drum thing in the beginning and the rhythm on the chords, and I'd make him do chords quick, and I put weights on his wrists. He had a banjo there at his house, and we put the banjo strings on the guitar and mess with it, and I'd make him just strum the beats that I'm doing, like a banjo, but on a guitar, and then changing the chords. And I'd be playing on the guitar with him with the sticks. It was a big rhythm thing with guitar. And so he was developing great guitar sounds, and also a wonderful drummer. And I always had him right next to me. Wherever we were, I kept the drums in the front, except for when we were practicing in basements where I couldn't do it. My drums were in the front on a lift. They were on their own little platform. And I was level to Terry's head, and everybody else was a little bit shorter because Terry was taller than most of the other guys, except with Smith. So I was on the riser. We had a DJ, Terry next to me, and I'd always have him, he'd be facing the drums so I could see the chords and watch his fingers. I loved it. I always had my own amp for bass, and my own guitar amp and rhythm amp, and I would adjust them so I hear the band the way maybe the people hear it. I was a fanatic about that stuff. And then, of course, running the show. So that was all my stuff. So we're at the Stardust. We're playing there for 6 months. Toward the end of that, I heard about a place called, it was in Round Lake, and it was called Surfside Dance. And I thought, well, Surfside, okay. I had bought a 1961 Pontiac Bonneville convertible. I liked it because it was a Pontiac convertible, leather seats and all that. And then below, the bonus round was below the glove box. There was this chrome thing. And I looked at it and I thought, what is that? And the guy goes, that's a 45 record player. And I said, record player? I want this car. I want this car, you know. It had the duals in the back and the lights, and it was cool. So I'm hearing about this Surfside. I'm thinking, now I got a car. I'm going to go. Hey, Terry, I'm going to go to Surfside. Check it out. Okay, so I'm going. And the guys are all, different bands are playing with different people. But the thing about Terry, when he worked, and we worked together, you never knew when he played with other bands the kind of stuff that we did, because he was not the kind of guy to show off. And then he played the song. And he played it to the best of his ability. And if there was parts to play, he played the parts and they'd be perfect. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. But if there was a jammy thing in the middle, that's when you would kind of hear a little bit, and everybody else would be going like, what the heck is that? I thought, that's the band, the two, Chuck. You know, that kind of thing. And so we had our rhythms down. And I go up to Surfside. I drive up, and I get there. I had my typical outfit on, a blue shirt, button down, black leather jacket, black pants, white socks, black pointed shoes, shined unbelievable, sunglasses, and my record player going. And I'm cruising in. And there's the 55 Chevys and whatever is there, all jock cars, you know, and everybody had lettered things on it. I'm thinking, boy, oh boy, this is something. I get out of the car, everybody's looking at me and whatever, and I go in, and that place was rocking. It was rocking. There was a band named, who I found out, well, let me get into the place first. I walk into the front, and I go to pay, and the guy goes, boom, this is what it is, and the place is just like rocking. And I go, are you the owner? And he says, no, he's behind the bar over there. It was a bar, but in the night of the dance, it was just for soda, you know. And then that's kind of what was going on there. So I asked his name, and they told me, and I said, okay, I want to check your place out, and I want to go in. And I thought, this place is rocking. It's fantastic. There's playing pool over there. There's a DJ up there, you know. And on the DJ thing, it says Bob Mack, and I'm going, Bob Mack, that's a good name, you know. And he's like just slick back hair, and he's just spinning the records one after another, and the people are just dancing. I go, that's my kind of guy. That guy's my kind of guy. And I'm thinking, I got to get closer. So I walk through the crowd, and the girls are all dancing, the guys are dancing, and everybody's looking at me like, who's this outsider, you know? And I'm looking at them like, please don't hurt me, but you're not going to know that I'm saying please don't hurt me, because I got the attitude that if you're going to try to hurt me, you better get more people. That's the Chicago way. So I walk through in my little strut and all that garbage, and I spot two pretty girls dancing. There was a lot of pretty girls, but there was just two in particular. And all the other girls were kind of looking at me like, who is that guy, you know, little clicky thing going, ooh, who's that guy, you know. And then there was this girl dancing with this other girl. And she turned her head. She didn't want anything to do with me. And she was hot. I mean, she had a great shape, and she had the heels on, and she had this blue dress on, and she was looking real cute and all that. And the other girl was looking like, trying to tell her, would you look at him? He's looking at you. And she's going like, yeah, I don't want to look at him. I want nothing to do with anybody. I just want to dance. And so I pass him up, and I go to the stage. The band's coming down. This band, Buddy and the Citations, Buddy's playing drums and trumpet and singing lead. You know, Jesse on bass, and it was Tom Fabre on organ and Gigi on bass. I mean, and then Bobby Penny on guitar, and the great harmonies. And they did "Summertime," summertime, dun, da da da, and the living is easy, da da da. I'm thinking, I can't believe this guy's playing trumpet and drums and singing, and that microphone stand's going back and forth. And he's got the groove going. And I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. These guys are great. And this little guy next to me is stumbling around like going to break something. He's so aggravated. Little pointed nose guy with his hair's like kind of country. Well, they get through. They come down. And he just lays into them. If you ever play like that again, and I hear how bad that sounds and this and that, and I thought, hey, buddy, are you hearing the same band that I'm hearing? These guys are great. And he's yelling at him, you'll never work in Chicago. You'll never work here. I never work here. If you guys don't get serious and all that. And I thought, wow, this place is, hey, Bob, I'm Nick Morrone. I'm a drummer. Hey, what nights you work here? Oh, yeah, okay, thanks, man. You're doing a great job. Oh, yeah. Hey, if I booked this place one night, would you spin for me? What do you mean? If I booked this place one night and I need someone to spin, would you mind if I ask you what you get paid for a night? Is the spinning? He said, whatever he said. And I said, okay, I'll let you know, okay? Yeah, okay. Thanks, man. So I go back, and those two girls are still there. And I'm thinking that guy's an idiot. His name was Mickey Cull. He turned out to be our agent down the road, but he was kind of a fanatic. So I go by the two girls, and I stop and talk to one. She says, my name's Marlene. I says, who's she? She says, Melody. I says, well, Melody, I'd like to get to know you. And she says, Melody doesn't want to get to know you. And I says, okay. Well, I'll be right back. I got something to ask you guys, girls. I go back to the owner. I say to the owner, I'm an id drummer out of California, and I play my drums with DJ spinning the records, and I'd like to rent your place on an off night and perform here and try to play in your place. And he says, I don't know what you're talking about. And I told him what I kind of wanted to do. And we decided, I think it was the following Thursday or something like that, or Friday, whatever. And I put an ad in the paper, and I made it ladies' night and all that, and not knowing if anybody would come. But I was wanting to talk to Melody. So I went over to Melody and Marlene, and I said to Marlene, would you tell Melody that I'm going to be here next, let's say, Friday night. I'm going to make it ladies' night, and I'm playing for her. Would she please come and have a good time, and maybe we could talk. Maybe I can give her a ride home, whatever. And I said, but I'll be outside for a little bit, and then I'm going to head back to Chicago. So I go outside, and they're curious. They come outside, and other people come outside. And I'm standing there by my car, and Marlene goes, what a nice car. And I go, well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I says, what a great place this is, I'm going to play here, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm thinking, I got to tear down my drums. I don't want to tear down my drums. You got to do what you got to do. So for that night, that's kind of why I think it was a Thursday, because I had to tear down the drums, unless it was a Wednesday. But at any rate, I had to tear the drums out and then get back to Palatine for the weekend. So that was my plan. So I didn't invite anybody to come with me because it was my thing. I just wanted to check out this place and get to know this DJ because he was fabulous. And see the Four Seasons played there. I saw on different people, and I'm thinking, I'm going to do this by myself. I called myself the id drummer. I go do it. I tell Terry I got this thing I'm going to do, and I got to tear my drums down and bring them. And luckily, the car had a big everything, so you could fit stuff in there. And I didn't even take them apart. I just put them in there. And I hated to take them apart. So with blankets and all that. So anyway, I play, and I set up, and I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. I start playing. Max starts spinning, and I'm playing as if the place is packed, and we're getting a nice sound. The next thing I know, people are coming in. A lot of girls are coming in. Some guys are coming in because they follow the girls. And I'm thinking, I don't see her yet, but I'm just going to keep doing my thing. I do my thing, I do my thing, I do my thing. Boom, boom, boom. There's Marlene and Melody, and a little smile going on. Marlene, hey, how you doing? And, yeah, how you doing? And, hey, Melody. And it's like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with this guy. But I'm curious. You can tell he's curious. So I'm playing the little bebop thing, and at the end of at the break and at the end of the night, the car thing kind of got her a little bit, and Marlene said, Melody, I got you last week. This is my ma's turn. You go with Nick. Nobody will know the difference. And I'll just tell my ma that you got a ride with somebody else, one of your other girlfriends or whatever. I thought, well, that's kind of not starting out the right thing. Let's do it. So that's what we did. I drove her home to Fox Lake, maybe a 20-minute drive, something like that. And Canterbury Courts, we pulled in. Her mother was upstairs. The shades were the curtains were pulled a little bit, and then I'm thinking, well, okay, I thank you for seeing me, and I'd like to see you again. And we exchanged phone numbers, and then I went back to Chicago, and we played Stardust, and then we were coming to the end of the Stardust thing, and I couldn't stay out of Fox Lake then. I kept going up there, even after work. I didn't care. I was like really hooked on this Melody, and her girlfriend Marlene was a lot of fun. And so I brought a guy with me, and Frank Stocker. I brought him up. And in fact, I came up with him. And then, so anyway, we were like doubling and stuff. But Melody and I kind of did our own thing. And then I told Terry about Melody. I said that I think after this Stardust Ballroom thing is over with, I think I'm going to maybe go hang out more in Fox Lake, Round Lake area, and see what I'm going to do. And I'm not sure. So I joined the band called Carmen and the Caravels. They played in Chicago, but Terry went out and he played with different bands. He was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and I just couldn't, like I said, couldn't get enough of Melody. But him and I'd get together periodically, and so he did his thing, I did mine. I played my dances. We get together and jam once in a while, and took me up to about I was about 17 then, and no, I was 16, and I asked. Melody's father had passed away. He was the sheriff of Fox Lake, and he died at an early age, 40 or 41. So she was an only child and only had her mother, and her mother worked at Great Lakes, and Melody worked at Gardner's Restaurant, I think. And so I kept going up there so much, and I started with this band called Carmen and the Caravels because we were doing clubs, and so I was doing the clubs with Carmen and the all-night clubs, and I'd see Terry playing with different groups. Jimmy Ford, I think, we played with, and different bands like that. And then I think he started with Danny and Walter and Missing Links. And I remember the Last Resort, Walter was playing. I think Jimmy Gersha was playing bass back then. I think, yeah. So we were all kind of doing our thing, everybody. And growing, but never forgetting the feeling of the beginning and our special times. So I want to get married to Melody. And my dad says, you can't get married. My brother kind of helped talk them into, hey, the guy loves her. They love each other. Let them get married if they want to get married, Well, she wasn't pregnant. We had to go to St. Louis and get married and bring our folks. And everybody signed for it and did our thing. And then when I got married and I was working with Carmen, next thing I know, Terry and I are kind of drifting apart because I'm in Fox Lake and playing at the all-night clubs in Chicago. And I said, enough of this. I quit the Carmen and the Caravels. We played like the Wine and Roses, the Bramble Bush, all Rush Street, Rush Up, Rush North, all the places. Peter Cetera was in the exceptions. They'd be playing all over the place. They were Marty Grubb, Peter Cetera. They were incredible musicians. I think Terry then and Danny, and they started this thing, and it was the big thing, And so they'd be playing the clubs with the real horns, and I'd be playing like the Buddy Citation thing, playing parts. Peter played parts. He played trumpet and bass, and what an incredible voice. And then he had a little switch for reverb. Echo, I think, on his microphone. I'd watch, boom, boom, he hit it, Midnight Hour and stuff, or Beach Boys or whatever. They were great. So as life goes on, Terry and I go our separate ways, but never forgetting about each other. And he goes and does his big thing. I go join a band up in Round Lake, Grays Lake, called the Sunday Funnies. And we wound up staying together 9.5 years. Different sized bands we made it, but there was always Bob Young, myself, Nick Morrone, and Rod Mallador playing. And we played bars, and that guy, that idiot guy that was yelling and all that, he turned out to be the guy. It was our manager. And so we played all the bars and all that. And then during the day, I was a butcher, and it was like, my life was that was my life, the family thing and working 2 jobs. Melody got a job at Great Lakes, Naval Base, and we were kind of like in a situation where there was nothing else going on. It was not going to get any better. It was not going to get any worse. It was just doing what we do. Until one night, we were at a place in Park City. Yeah, Park City on 44 there. And it was called the Mousetrap, the Better Mousetrap. All-night place. You'd play all night long. A lot of fights, and Big Shirley was the bouncer, big gal. So we'd be playing there, and all of a sudden this guy comes in, and I think we were a trio then. Guy comes in and goes, kind of looking at us, he had glasses, had a little bit of a limp, like he had a problem with one leg. And we come on break, and he walks up to me, and because I kind of walked up to him, and says, "Hi, my name's Pat Hamilton, and I'm from Coral Gables in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I'm scouting bands." And I says, "Well, hi, Pat Hamilton, I'm Nick Morrone, and we're the Sunday Funnies." He says, "I've never heard a trio that good." I says, "Really?" I says, "What's the name of the place again?" He says, "Coral Gables, this is the main branch is Kalamazoo." I says, "That's funny, because that's where we want to play, in Kalamazoo at the Coral Gables, so I'm glad you came." And he says, "Well, as much as I like to have you guys there, it's a show bar. It's a big place. They get 1,500, 2,000 people. And all the football team is at Western is the bouncers, because if you don't have them for bouncers, you're not going to solve any problems." So the team was the bouncers. And he says, this place goes, I said, "Well, you tell whoever's in charge of this that if they want the Sunday Funnies to come there, Sunday Funnies will come and do a great show, and will make the people dance more than any other band they've ever had, or you don't have to pay us." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, who's in charge?" He says, "Chopper Johnson." I said, "Well, you tell Chopper Johnson that Nick Morrone, the drummer for the Sunday Funny, says we'll come there free of charge and play, and if he didn't have a good night after the first night we're there, he don't have to pay us, and we'll leave." And he says, "Oh, well, can't argue with that, but I got to tell him or ask him." Anyway, I got a call. We all got calls. "We're going to try." "Hey, I'm going to Kalamazoo." I'm going to Kalamazoo. So we stayed in Kalamazoo, playing so often that we decided to move there from Waukegan to Kalamazoo. Meanwhile, Terry's playing all over the place in the big places, all the college towns. They got a following, Madison, Wisconsin, and in Milwaukee at the Attic, big show place. Across the street was the Scene, where you'd go hear the big band.